The following review is intended for entertainment purposes and targeted for adult fans of the series.
Are we ready yet? Hello there, heroes! I'm the Orange Ranger, and welcome to another comically long review. You might notice that there's been a slight change, namely that you cannot see me. Unless, of course, you're listening to this on Orange Ranger Audio, in which case you couldn't see me to begin with. I was setting up to record this video when Squealer wanted to go outside. After letting her out, my foot caught on the cord for my lav mic, which seems to have broken it. I can't complain about this too loudly. That mic has actually broken before and just started miraculously working again. I'm looking into options for microphones, but for now, I'm just going to lean into my new Orange Ranger audio vibe and just do the videos as audio podcasts. The last series I need to get back to is what's on the docket for today as we return to the world of Radiant Black. This series started as an experiment, a test, as former Power Rangers writer Kyle Higgins created his own tokusatsu universe. And a universe he has created. There's now a 5-issue miniseries for the seeming antagonist we just met, Radiant Red, and some hints at a Radiant Pink getting similar treatment, however spoilery that might be to mention. And other transforming heroes have joined this world, such as Inferno Girl Red and Rogue Sun, and there's an extra-length one-shot called Supermassive that chronicles their crossover. I mention all that to say this. Do I plan on covering all of that? Yes, but not anytime soon. I look at those the same way I look at Power Rangers Universe. If I haven't started reviewing the series yet, it exists in a nigh imaginary section of my backlog. I'll get there, somehow. Too much talking, not enough comics. At the end of issue number 4, Nate shoved Marshall and Radiant Red out of a collapsing nightclub, taking the full brunt of its fall on himself. Could he possibly have survived? And why is the black hole now speaking to Marshall? Let's find out by taking a look at Radiant Black, issue number 5.
Please make sure you're subscribed to the channel.
Yeah, and make sure you got your notifications set up by hitting that little bell icon.
Right, you. What he said was, you can consider checking us out on Patreon or Ko-fi at Orange Ranger Videos.
The main cover features a hand grabbing the black hole. This would be kind of a generic cover if this were Nathan's hand. But is it? Variant number 1 sees Radiant Black standing in front of that robot that was speaking to them last time. I've commented on it a few times, but it's kind of a shame that the only way to convey light black is purple. Variant number 2 is gorgeous. Radiant Black, seemingly right at the end of the transformation, or maybe summoning an attack. The light blue energy is a perfect contrast. We pick back up at the site of the club collapse. Paramedics are working on Nate as Marshall sits nearby. He quietly says, "He's not dead," and then charges through the tape towards him, screaming that this can't be, and even starting to basically pray that if Nate lives, he'll go to church and get his life together. And at that moment, Nate coughs out a breath. One of the paramedics declares that they have a shallow pulse, and Marshall screams in relief that he's okay. The paramedic clarifies, Nate's heart was stopped for over 6 minutes, only kick-started with a direct shot of adrenaline. They have no idea if there's any brain activity. Marshall leaves. Pretty sure the cops would want to question him, kicking a trash can and running into an alley. Someone asks if he's okay, but he ducks behind a dumpster and transforms into Radiant Black. He's flying blind and angry, even somehow crying through the suit. He hits a silo and crashes. Then he starts screaming that he doesn't want it, presumably the powers. He catches his breath, and then says a word that rhymes with duck.
Bjork?
We then see 3 guys that call themselves Circle Guy News. Even the news channel they're being interviewed on calls them self-appointed Radiant Black experts. 2 of them talk about how Radiant Black is a hero that just wants to help people. But the third has a dissenting opinion. An entire building was destroyed, and a man was sent to the hospital and is probably going to die, and Radiant Black just flew away, not even taking the guy there? One of the others counters him, saying they don't know the whole story. Maybe he was injured in the fight. They start arguing as we see Marshall watching this on his phone. This is at the hospital, and Nate's parents walk out and are surprised to see Marshall. How did he know? He tells them he was having lunch with Nate, but lost track of him when the chaos began. Nate's hooked up to a lot of tubes, and they're not seeing any brain activity. His godmother busts in, demanding to see him, and as they discuss that, Marshall hears something in the alien language.
Latu, Barada, Nikto.
It quickly translates to Radiant, and Marshall asks why they keep saying that word. The robot responds that their sync is proceeding faster than Nate's, and he is ready. And, oh yeah, he's ready. The robot starts describing the grander situation. A war is coming soon. He will try to kill Marshall and the whole planet by shattering their connection. But the connection is permanent and will remain as long as Marshall is alive. That's right, Marshall is Radiant Black now. Marshall asks what this guy's name is, but the robot doesn't respond. Marshall makes clear what the deal is. All this cosmic stuff? Cool, fine, we'll get to it. First things first, the robot is going to help him find Radiant Red so he can put a fist through his face for Nate. Then cosmic stuff. Radiant Red is off punching rocks somewhere. Literally. They berate themselves for losing control, the idea that they could handle it. They say they can't handle anything, and Marshall agrees. Radiant Black is powered up and ready to rumble. At first, Red thinks that Nate made it through, but Marshall unveils himself and says Nate is in a coma because of them.
Let's get ready to rumble!
The 2 fly at each other and a massive superhero fight begins. Red gets knocked back. Marshall tells them to get their eyes up. Unlike what they did to Nate, he wants them to see this coming. He gives them the old Team Rocket blasting off again punch. Marshall just beats the poor Red around, even pointing out how he was watching at the club and figured out they armor up by absorbing matter around them. So he can use his gravity powers to just keep them up in the air and they'll have nothing to absorb. But they grab his hand and say,
"Not so fast!"
They start absorbing him, or at least his suit, even chillingly asking him by name if it hurts. He screams and suddenly explodes out in energy. And don't think I didn't notice that he seems to form a cape here.
Knock it!
Red crashes through the ice of a frozen lake and starts sinking, but does form a fist. Marshall indeed celebrates his new cape mode, even mocking Red by saying he just put his good cape on. However, Red slams back up through the ice, now wearing a big suit of armor, probably formed by absorbing a bunch of the ice? That makes them look a bit familiar.
I'm the juggernaut, bitch!
The armor makes them at least twice as big as Marshall, so this does not look good.
Uh-oh, we're in trouble.
So, how does the battle go at this point? Marshall lays on the ground, defeated, but then mentally sees Nate in the same position. He flashes in anger and screams for Red to die.
You go to hell! You go to hell and you die!
He blasts them back, screaming about how they took away the one good thing in his life. He was a good person! Way better than me, which sucks for you because this is all I have now, and I'm not stopping until you're dead! But then he stops when he sees that she's removed her helmet, And yeah, she's a she. She says she never meant to do what she did. But suddenly they are interrupted by some pink energy to their side.
Too much pink energy is dangerous.
It's radiant yellow and radiant pink, warning them they are in danger. Now, you'd think that would be a great stopping point, but we keep going a little. Marshall asks how many more of these things there are, but the two don't know. That mysterious he the robot warned Marshall about? He's here. Pink says she's kept herself and Yellow barely one step ahead. She saw the news about the fight the two of them had, but whatever that's about, this is bigger. He can counteract anything they can do. Marshall boasts that they don't know what he can do, but Yellow says he hit him with everything across the spectrum, and he barely shrugged. Suddenly, they all get hit with an energy swipe, and everything takes on a refreshing raspberry flavor.
It hurts, I know. A consequence of playing with fire. You have something that is not yours. You will all lose your lives. Unfortunate. Necessary. You have no choice but one. Will your planet die as well?
So, the word of the day for this one is twist. The story has taken a very sharp turn, one so sudden it feels unintended. However, from what I've read, this was the direction the story was going from the start, and it's a bold move. 4 issues is just enough time to make us believe Nate was the hero we were going to get to know. Then the rug gets yanked out from under us. Marshall, seemingly the comic relief, he is the hero. And while the existence of Radiant Red implied that there were others, right at the end having more show up is interesting. The end of the story feels very much like a Green Lantern tale, even if there is no Radiant Green here. Yellow even mentions attacking across the entire spectrum. The scope of this story is about to expand big time. But the emotion here is great too. This story is a slow boil, starting with Marshall's grief over what happened to Nate. The powers have been passed to him, and he must take them out of necessity to avenge Nate and save the planet, but he doesn't want them. The man that dreamed of being a superhero is now a superhero reluctantly, and that is a beautiful twist of fate. A fantastic issue that shows just how good this story is going to get. Radiant Black number 5 gets a 5 out of 5. Next time on a comically long review, let's talk about that, shall we? And it's actually more than my broken microphone. Yes, I am once again changing course on comic reviews. One-issue videos are great when I'm keeping pace with the comics, but let's do a little quick math here. I am 22 issues behind. If I review 4 issues a month, 3 more issues of those books I'm reviewing coming out in that same month, not to mention the stuff I haven't even started yet. If I'm making up just 1 comic a month, it'll take me nearly 2 years to catch up. And again, that's just these 3 lines. None of the Supermassive Universe stuff, no Power Rangers Universe, no Ultra 7 whenever that comes out. So I have to do more. But how do I balance that with Dino Fury, of which 9 more episodes sit waiting for me to review, with another 11 sometime later this year? The answer is to do what I tried to do with the end of Dino Fury Season 1 and actually do it this time. Here's my goal: to review 2 episodes of Dino Fury Second Era a week. With 9 left, that should take about a month, a little bit more. After that, leap back into comics, doing a 3-issue video each week. That should take about 3 months. I've posted a schedule to Twitter, but 9 episodes of Dino Fury and 11 comic videos does put things into about June. I do expect Dino Fury to come back before then with its second batch, but hey, I'll figure that out when we get to it. Going off of that, I want to read you something I posted in that Twitter thread I mentioned on this, and while these words will sound self-defacing, I completely believe them. You all should be aware that I have less than zero confidence this is how this is going to plan out. I've been terrible at keeping to a schedule or plan for videos. This is really just my idea at the moment. So, as I was saying, next time on a comically long review, we need to check in on the teenagers with attitude and their efforts to free Angel Grove from the Dome of Doom. I'll be taking a look at Mighty Morphin issues 8 through 10. That's going to do it for another comically long review. Thank you, heroes, so much as always for really more listening than watching this time, but either way, I do appreciate it. Now that this video's done, you can let me know what you thought of this issue, as well as my review of it, down in the comments below. While you're down there, make sure you smack that thumbs up button to let me know that you enjoyed this video. And if you're looking for a way to support my channel that isn't Patreon or Ko-fi, you know, another way that you can maybe help me get a new microphone, you can check out my Teespring store, Orange Ranger Videos on Teespring, and get yourself shirts, mugs, masks, etc., etc. Until next time, heroes, I'm doing the salute even though you can't see me. May the power protect you. I'm just going to lean into my new Orange Ranger audio vibe, and I just remembered that I said, unless you're listening to this on Orange Ranger. Why is the black hole now speaking to Marshall? Even the news channel they're being interviewed on calls them Loud Thunder. This is at the hospital, and Nate's parents walk out and are... They say they can't handle... Then the rug gets ranked...